there, and welcome to the Purl Up Dye Podcast. My name is Jaden. I haven't been here for over a year, I believe, so forgive my complete rustiness. I don't remember what I'm doing. So if you are new here, which you probably are since I haven't been around for about a year, welcome. This is a knitting podcast, although I think it's going to be a little bit more of an all general craft episode this time. If you are a returning viewer, sorry for the long delay. I didn't intend to be away that long, although it was kind of a nice needed break. I was not burnt out from podcasting since I only did it like once a month, but I kept saying, oh, I'm just gonna try to do it every couple of weeks. And well, obviously that wasn't working. It was every couple of months, and then it was a year. So I don't know. I'm going to really try this coming up year 2020 to have one a month done, just because I actually really missed it. For the first 6 months I was like, it's not a big deal, but I've been gearing up watching a lot more podcasts again, now that my schedule is kind of slowing down a little bit, and I was like, I miss podcasting, I miss connecting with everyone, so I'm back, kind of, sort of. So anyways, you can find me around the internet as Little Prairie Purl on Instagram, or Midnight Cravings on Instagram. My sister and I own that company. We also can be found, I can also be found on Ravelry as Creations on a Whim, and I think that's pretty much it. I mostly do Ravelry and Instagram, and yeah, so Little Prairie Purl or Creations on a Whim and Midnight Cravings. So anyways, I don't know what exactly to share with you. If I wanted to show you everything that I'd worked on in the last year, well, we'd be here for 6 hours. I've done a lot of knitting. So maybe I'll just start with what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing today my cardigan it was designed by Pip and Pin, so Megan Nodecker. It's called the Mama cardigan, and it's this beautiful, I love it so much. It's like an oversized cardigan, although I did about 2 sizes smaller because I didn't want so much positive ease. So I think I did a medium instead of an extra large, but it's a honeycomb brioche stitch right here and across the back, 3/4 length sleeves, although I did mine more elbow length because I'm always pushing up to my elbows anyways. And I did this out of our carriage ride color that we dye in the shop, for the shop. So I can't say enough good things about this cardigan. I want to knit another one, although knitting that honeycomb brioche, while it was really easy, I didn't want to make a mistake because I don't know how to tink that back. It would have been a nightmare had I dropped a stitch or even made a mistake. It was really hard to go back because it's a lot of slipping stitches and knitting stitches together. So yeah, that would have been a nightmare. But I would love to knit another one, maybe even in a sport weight, like go down another size and do it in a sport weight so I have an even extra cozier one. And so you can see like the button band, it's not meant to be closed at all. It's meant to just hang straight off your shoulders, and it fits beautifully. I don't have it falling off my shoulders. I don't have it riding weird. It just falls and it's perfect. So I dyed this up and knit it so I could wear it to Knit City. And then it was so hot at Knit City and being in the stadium and just all the people milling around that I didn't even really wear it. But I've worn it a ton around everywhere. I wear it when I have to go running errands, and I wear it around home, and yeah, I want a second one, but yeah, I don't know. I started it in May and I finished it in September. So, sorry, I'm just gonna adjust the camera a little bit. You know, like, it's been a long time, and if I keep like looking away, it's because I'm using my webcam, but my picture of myself is just to the left of me, and so I keep glancing at it to make sure that it's in focus and stuff like that. Plus, it's just really awkward looking at nothing but a webcam. So it's like, avert my eyes. I don't know what to do with them. So I'm sorry if that's distracting for you. Just look at your knitting. So I'm also drinking some hot coffee today. I don't know what you're drinking, but I got this adorable mug after when we were driving home from Knit City. We stopped in Edmonton and we went to the Fiber Nook. And I can't remember, I'm sorry, I don't remember who designed this mug, but anyways, his eyes, this is what got me, is his eyes were, they're looking a little worried and I wasn't sure why. And then I turned the mug and yeah, it's like a yarn bowl rolling off his bum. And I don't know what it is about quirky animals and stuff, but I just love it. So it's a little on the wonky side. It's not like perfectly round. It's kind of like a slight oval because it's obviously hand thrown. And yeah, but I really love this mug. I love pottery mugs, really, especially lately. My cupboard is starting to get full up of like hand thrown pottery mugs, but they have to be like this quirky color. The bright colors are what I'm drawn to more than like the muted fall colors. This is just my personal color palette. As you can see from the picture behind me and my couch, and that I'm wearing bright colors. I dye a lot of muted colors and fall colors, which is kind of funny because it's such a far cry from what I personally wear and decorate with, but it's what it is. I love to dye those colors. I don't know why. It's so crazy. But yeah, just coffee with cream today. Nothing too special. Liquid courage. Well, they say that's actually like something a little stronger, but I don't have any of that today. So that's what I was wearing. So I maybe will show you some stuff that I finished. Oh, I finished so many things I can't even, I just picked two because this one is sort of mostly an FO, but I've got 1001 ends to weave in and I haven't done it. When I wear it, I just tuck the ends in. I'm like, whatever, it's a cowl, tuck the ends in. So I knit myself this is a Comfy Cozy Trio. The pattern is from the Comfy Cozy Trio from Cozy Up Knits. That's a mouthful. And this is the cowl. So it's a really, really cool pattern. I really liked how it knit up. I can't even remember. It involves slip stitches anyways. I won't say any more than that because you can buy the pattern if you want to know how it's actually done. But yeah, and these little right here aren't mistakes. They're like the decreases because it's actually wider at the bottom, as you can see here. It's wider at the bottom and then it narrows at the top so that when you're wearing it, let's see if I can do this somewhat gracefully. Don't hold your breath. So when you wear it, I'll hold the strings. See, if I throw the strings in the back, nobody knows, and then my coat's on, so makes no difference. Yeah, so then when you're wearing it, it sits better here over your shoulders and down the front, and then it's snugger and nice and warm around your face. So that it's perfect for when you're zipping up your coat. A lot of the bulk is around your neck, but it's not so much that you can't zip up your jacket. This stays kind of out of the way. It always wants to flip up for me. I'm gonna have to block it a little bit harder maybe. But yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, I love it. So this is actually a shop sample, so I'm going to knit myself a second one. The yarn is just sitting right beside me. I should have grabbed it, but I didn't. And I don't feel like going and getting it. And you guys will see that I'm wearing sweatpants and, you know, I only look good from, well, sort of good from here up. So no. So anyways, that's that. So the colors I used Midnight Cravings yarn again. Like as I said, it's a shop sample, so kind of have to use our yarn. But the main color that I held throughout it was a Sand Castle. Then this color is Silk Stockings, so it's kind of a peachy pink color. It's part of our Downton Abbey collection, and so is this green. This green is called Cloche. Then we've got pink. It's our Petal colorway. This is Parasol, which is also part of the Downton. So this one, and this one were all the Downton Abbey collection. And then this purple color is Amethyst Brooch, which was part of our Kindred Spirits collection. So yeah, I just really, really love the muted look that this gave. Holding this double with that slight off white Sandcastle is just a very, very soft sandy brown. So I really like that. So I just need to weave in the ends and I can call it a FO. Right now it's a mostly FO. So there was that. The other thing that I finished, I don't even remember if I showed you guys this at all. Probably not, because I think it came to be after I stopped podcasting. But I designed a huge, huge shawl. Well, it's not super huge. It's not like a Find Your Fade size. It's quite large. And I have the pattern written in a like super rough draft. I wrote it as I knit it. It needs to just get put into like a document, like a Word document, not a Word document. I use Word, but it'll look good. I have to get it ready to go PDF. Probably, I might get it tech edited, and I'm going to need to have some testers. So if that's something that is interesting to you, just leave a comment below, and when I get to calling for testers, I will keep you in mind. I don't really have a way of like picking testers. I'm not picky. So if you want it, I usually take about 3 or 4, so not a ton. Anyways, that's enough rambling. Just keep in mind that I will be calling for testers, probably on the Midnight Cravings group, so if you don't follow me there instead of leaving a comment, because that'll just get confusing. I'll forget. We'll do it a different way. But I should probably just take all that up because that wasn't very clear at all. Let's just sew the shawl. So this is called a drift. It's quite big. It's like, oh my goodness. It's big. Way wider than my couch, my couch is probably 5.5 feet. This thing is probably about 7 or 8 feet wingspan and probably about 3 feet in depth. This is blocked, so it did grow. But it's just a simple triangular shaped shawl using a 3-color fade, which does not have to be. It just so happened I had a fade set in the shop that I was really wanting to design with. But anything, any colors, even color blocking would look beautiful in this. So don't feel like if you're wanting to test that you need to have a fade set. You absolutely do not. Or if you wanted to knit this when I finally get the pattern out. It would actually be a really great stash buster for some of your colors that you had maybe bought a whole skein of and you have a bunch left. Because I didn't use a ton. I used maybe about 1/2 to 3/4 of a ball for each one of these. But so this color here is called Deep Sea. Nope, that's a lie. Set Sail. This one, sorry. All the names are similar too, so it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so confused. Set Sail. 7 Seas for this one. This third one is called Sunken Treasure. And the blue tonal at the bottom is Deep Sea. And then at the bottom, it goes back to the original color, so the Set Sail. And then this golden color is Afternoon Tea. So I love it. I really think it's a lot of fun with the speckles, but like I said, 4 different tonals would be amazing as well, or just anything really. So yeah, I'll be calling for testers somewhat soon because I would really like to get this off the needles. I do have somebody I had inquired about getting it photographed professionally, and that's still on the agenda. I just have to reach out to her again because I just can't get my act together. So maybe she'll fire me. I hope not, but she might. I might have to find somebody else. We'll see. So yeah, that's it for, I'll just show those 2 finished objects plus what I was wearing was 3. I think that was sufficient. So whips maybe, I guess. Whips. Let's do knitting whips first. Oh, there it is. Yay, found a thing that I wanted to show. So I'm mostly knitting, I'm knitting little bits and pieces here and there. I'm test knitting a new yarn that we're possibly going to bring into the shop, but I don't want to show that. I'm in the middle of a row and it's really nothing to show yet. It's a shawl. But what I'm really excited about is this. And I don't know if this is the front or the back. I think that's the back. This is the front. I can only tell because there's a bit of short row shaping, so the back is a little bit longer. But this is my Once and Floral sweater, and it is a pattern by Max the Knitter, and it calls for 3 colors and all this color work, and I love it. Love, 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 love. So I just used some one-of-a-kinds that we had dyed up for the shop. The red is actually called Black Cherry, but I was revamping it because it keeps bleeding, and we don't sell like yarn that bleeds color, and at least we try not to. So this one's kind of a problematic color. We're still trying to rework it. So I thought, whatever, I'll use it. The yellow is Afternoon Tea, but I think it was Rachel Lynn, sorry. I think it was one of the first skeins that we dyed. So it was like a practice skein, so it was just kicking around. And then this brown color is just I really want to recreate this color. I've tried and I haven't succeeded yet, but it's just, it's this gorgeous tonal brown. I'm not normally a brown person, but I dyed this color for fun. I was just using up some random some random dye that I had in a jar. And because I use them for speckling. So I had some brown and some red in a jar for speckling, but through the summer it was so humid in there that all my speckles in that jar melted. Not melted, but they had enough humidity. Sorry, I've got a tickle in my nose. They had enough humidity that got into the salt shaker that it all just was basically like a glue. And I was like, oh dear. So I just added a bunch of hot water, tons and tons of hot water to it until I got all the liquid out of all the color out of the salt shaker. So I have no idea what concentration this was. I have no idea how much brown to how much red ratio was in there. No idea. So I just threw it in a pot, dyed this color, and of course I loved it. Now I can't recreate it. I'm trying, but so far, no dice. So yeah, I'm about 3-4 inches down from the armhole. I don't know how much farther I have to go. I haven't tried it on for a little while, but probably another 4 inches of ribbing. No, 4 inches of body. And it's a little bit of a long slog right now because it's just knitting in the round. So it's a good mindless knit right now. This was a lot of fun. I was really worried about my floats. I thought they were going to be too tight. I was really, really worried because they were kind of puckering, and I was like, oh dear, I've totally messed it up. But I hit it with my steam. I actually put it on my ironing board and put my iron at a setting that I thought would be okay. Just fairly low, not super high. And I steamed it, like I used my steam button, and I just pressed it. And yeah, it evened out pretty good, I think. It's not lumpy or bumpy, and the floats on the inside, I think, look pretty good. Maybe could be better, but I mean, this is really, I think, I've done a little bit of color work for a scarf when I first started knitting, and before I realized that, stranded knitting was a little bit more difficult than maybe my skill level, but I was like, whatever. So I did 2 scarves actually. They're by Jill Zielinski, is that her name? What's her username? I can't remember. The grocery girls are doing a knit along with her right now. What is her name? Anyways, you can look it up. It was called the... Oh yeah, I'm just not good at this today. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyways, I knit 2 scarves in the round, color work, stranded, but it's been about 6 years, and so it was time to pull out that. So, and I saw this on Instagram and I just fell in love with it. It is just so not something that I would buy at a store. It's not something that I normally be drawn to, so I don't know what it is about it. I absolutely loved it. So, it's mine. So I just need to finish that, and then I'll do the sleeves, and I'm debating about the sleeves. If I want to do them the full length, like they're supposed to be full length, but like I said, I always go with an elbow length because I'm always pushing my sleeves up. And I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a long-armed girl. When I was a kid, I had the longest arms. Oh my goodness. And you could not get shirts or sweaters long enough. They were always hitting me like right here, which is you know, I guess they call that bracelet length now, but at the time it was just like, no, my arms were just too long and they were sticking out weird out of my sweater. So maybe it's just, so I always pushed them up, right, as a kid, because then it wasn't so obvious that sorry, grabbing my coffee. Wasn't so obvious that my sleeves were too short. So it's just become habit. I'm 36 years old. I still do it. So I'm like, there's no hope for me. So I debate, because even when I get sweaters at stores now that are long enough in the arms, I still push them. So I don't know, 3/4 length maybe. I don't know if I should go like below my elbow, or if I should go above my elbow, or if I should go the full length. I don't know. If anybody has any suggestions, or think, you know, maybe you've seen a Once in Floral with a shorter sleeve. I don't want short sleeves. I don't want that, because I'm like, what's the point of a nice cozy sweater if I've got no sleeves? And I'm not one to layer like a t-shirt, long sleeve t-shirt, because again, the t-shirt length sleeves are never long enough. So I don't do that. So yeah, I don't know. If you have suggestions or you think it would look good, leave a comment below. I would love to read that and get your opinion. So I grabbed my coffee to have a sip and just put it back. So whatever. I'll drink it cold. That's how I always drink my coffee. So I wanted to show you this too, because I'm really excited about it. These are totally not my colors. I intended to make this as a practice, and then it turned out really well, so I was going to sell it, and then I like it, so I'm going to keep it. And it matches my... Look at that. It's like they're meant to be. So I did some sewing while I was on my podcasting hiatus too. I don't know, for a while there I just didn't feel like really even knitting. I kind of got into a knitting, lost my mojo a little bit. I think it's just because there's so many things I want to do. I'm like one of those crafters that I want to try everything, and it's a problem. So anyways, I was really feeling the itch to sew, and I bought myself some new canvas. This is a canvas bottom. It's actually waxed canvas. And I bought some, and I wanted to create something with it. The only only fabric that I had in my entire stash that matched it was this fall themed. And I didn't even mean to have this fabric in my stash. I signed up for a subscription service for like getting a fat quarter bundle every month. And I did it for like 3 months, and then I wanted to cancel. But on the place that I get it from, there's no actual way to cancel. You can't cancel your credit card. You can't like cancel. You just have to say you don't want it this month or this month or this month or whatever. And they only do it for 9 months. So guess what? Every 9 months, I get a surprise package in the mail because I've forgotten to go back into that website and cancel my subscription for the next 9 months. It's really frustrating. So anyways, I got this fabric. I have no idea who it's by. I know it's I've seen it popping up here and there on Instagram, so it's probably by some famous designer, but I don't really know. But yeah, it's if you're not familiar with this style, it's the Finch Bucket by Stitch Mischief. This one is massive. It's her original size. And I did the patchwork version of it. So when you get this pattern, you get, I think she's got 2 or 3 sizes now. Originally she just had 1. And yeah. And then she has the version that you can do it solid on the top, solid on the bottom. I did the patchwork version, so I'm practicing my quilting. Well, not my actual quilting. I'm practicing my piecing, I should say. And then I did the same, what do you call that? The tunnel? There's an actual word for it. The casing for my drawstrings. So I really like this drawstring bag, and it is huge. I've got my whole sweater in there, and there's just tons of room. And then what I like about this one is that it's got pockets inside. So there's 4 pockets. She writes it so that you can do pockets on both inner sides, but I just did a one side because I honestly don't even use the pockets. I just put them in there because I was planning on selling the bag, and I thought, well, maybe somebody. But nope, it became mine. So I really, really like that. And so it hoses my Once in Floral with tons of room inside. Let's see. So you can't even see my project down there. There it is, way down there. She put her whole 1-year-old baby inside of it when she first did it. She plopped him in there and he sat in there, just his head sticking out. So that's how big this thing is. If you've never seen a Finch bucket in real life, they're big. Speaking of Finch buckets, last podcast I refreshed my memory and I looked at what I said on the last podcast, and I had bought fabric, this fabric. And I said I was going to go down later that day and sew myself a Finch bucket. And I did. And then I never came back and showed you. But this is it. I did make it. I super love it. Oh my goodness. I love this project bag so much. And it is also massive. And it's got some pockets inside there too, with a soft blue polka dot. Sorry, I'm looking at the camera again, so I'm sorry I'm not looking at you guys. Yeah, and a kind of a cool corally crosshatch, and then this fabric. I just love this fabric so much. And then more polka dots. So this is housing a ton of yarn. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a ball, and 2 more balls, and a swatch, and some needles. Interesting. So 1, that's all in here, and there was still tons of room. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things. And in here, again, barely see it, way down there. There we go. See how much the room there is in this thing? It's like you can't even fathom how big these are until you see one in person. So, you know, everybody told me, oh, it's a big bag. You can easily fit a sweater in here. And I'm like, well, that's awesome. And then I made it and I was like, oh my goodness, it's like a mammoth, but it's awesome. I love it so much. And if you are a beginner sewer, definitely give this pattern a try if you're liking. She's got, like I said, at least one other size. I know she did a medium. So if she's got a large and a medium, she must also have a small. Jade, is that right? You have to let me know. I don't remember. I should have researched this stuff. But this podcast was literally a last second thing. I finished up work today early. I didn't have a lot to dye, so I dyed up what I needed to, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go podcast. So literally flying by the seat of my pants today, fueled by coffee. So yeah, those are my 2 sewing projects. I've sewed a few more things. I actually sewed myself a top, which I really like. I've got a bunch more fabric for sewing more tops. No time. Plus my sewing space is a disaster. I've got like a little corner downstairs, which I was using my kids' 2 desks, and I've got just a random mishmash of crappy furniture and an ironing board, and it's just, oh my goodness, my fabric is everywhere. It's all over the floor. It's also in my kids' play area, so there's always like doll stuff set up. They use under my desk as like a house for their dolls, which is fine. Except for when I want to go sew, I'm like stepping on all the, like then I have to clear out that whole space, or I have to get them to do it. And by the time they're done, I'm like, forget it. I don't even feel like sewing anymore. So I've been slowly kind of trying to design like a sewing table to put down in space. And I think it's just going to be like a big square that I can put my ironing mats. I don't even want the ironing board necessarily. I just want like a mat. I got some wool mats for ironing. They're supposed to be really good for like keeping the heat even from above and below. Don't know if that makes any sense to you, but anyways, they're thick wool felted mats. They're like 1 inch thick. So I got myself one of those, and I'm thinking I'm going to put it on the one end, and then I'm going to have my sewing machine on the side, and then directly across from me on the other side, I'm going to have my cutting mat. But I might get a second one so I can cut bigger sections, because right now I'm using the top of a bureau or like a chest of drawers for my cutting mat, and I can't get around I can only cut from one direction, which is not really convenient if I need to turn. It's just a nightmare. It's like I've made so many miscuts because I just don't have the space for my cutting mat, and my ironing board is kind of wobbly, and it's just, oh my goodness, it is not ideal for sewing, and so I don't do it as much as I would like to. I've got about 20 quilt ideas and patterns. Like here, I've got this beautiful quilt fabric that my husband bought me for our anniversary. I took him to this cute little yarn, nope, not a yarn shop, quilt shop in Warman, Saskatchewan. So it's just outside of Saskatoon, about 10 minutes. And it's a beautiful little shop. It's so cute. Anyways, he bought me this whole rainbow. I pointed at it. I felt bad actually because I pointed at it. I'm like, oh, that's gorgeous. And he picked it up and put it at the till. I'm like, well, if I would have known that, I would have pointed out a few more things, if you know what I mean. But anyways, I shouldn't. This was a splurge. It's a fat quarter of the entire ombre confetti metallic line by V & Co. So I'm looking for the perfect quilt pattern for this, but I love it. So there's 32 fat quarters in there. So I want to do something with this, but I mean, honestly, my sewing space is not inspiring me right now. And I'm scared that I'm going to mess up the cuts because my cutting space is garbage. But, oh well. So, I guess that was it for whips. I'm only really, like I said, I'm only working on the one thing. I just finished a couple other things. I've always got socks on the go for my husband. I've got a shawl, like I said. Well, here, I'll just show it to you because you can't really tell. It's a crescent shawl. I'm in the middle of a row. But I'm testing out a new base that we might possibly bring in for spring. It's got a bit of a linen in it. And it's really gorgeous. I love it. So I'm testing it by knitting a shawl. And then I'm going to knit myself a noni tee by Pip and Pin. Because I want to see how it fits, how it drapes, how it wears, how it pills, all that before we decide if it was going to make it into our shop or not. You know, give it all the test runs. And yeah. So that's kind of it, what I've been working on sewing-wise and knitting-wise, yarny-wise. And I've also picked up an old hobby of mine when I was about, I don't know, 9 or 10. My sister taught me how to cross-stitch. And I haven't done it well, I did it quite a bit growing up because it was easy. It was something I could do. I couldn't figure out crocheting or knitting for the life of me, but I could cross-stitch. And so I did a few pieces as a younger version of myself. And I've always kind of had it on the back burner, and it just really picked up with me in the last little bit. I started watching some floss tubes. Sue and Chelsea of the Legacy Fiber Arts, so is that the Legacy Knits podcast? Sue has been talking about cross-stitching for a couple of years, and that's kind of where my interest peaked up again because I was like, oh, I used to do that, and it was so fun. And I pulled out a big cross stitch that I had. It's massive. And it just wasn't it was awesome. I love the pattern. I love working on it. But it's just so big that there's no gratification until it's done, which could be another few years. So I got myself a new one. And I found this on Etsy. And I can't remember, but I'll try to put the information below. But oh my goodness, he made me laugh so much. I had to buy this pattern. He's a pugacorn. Well, I call him a pugacorn. He's a pug. You can't really tell until I do the back stitching, but he's wearing a hat. So this is like the bow underneath, and he's wearing a hat that has his unicorn attached to it, and then he's strapped on like a unicorn tail, because we know like pugs have like no tail. Anyways, it was hilarious, and I loved him. So I was like, oh, and my niece adores pugs, like freakishly adores them. So this will be for her. So all these white spaces that are in there are actually going to have that metallic thread. I don't know if you can see. There we go. So you can see the metallic thread up in this horn, around his bow, and I think there's a little bit in his tail. And so, yeah, there's going to be like metallic stitches within the rainbow. So I'm actually almost done. I'm working on the darker blue right now. That's going to continue all the way around. Then there's another color. I'm not sure if it's like a soft blue or if it's a whitish color. I can't remember now. Then I have to just do the back stitching. And if you're wondering what this M&M is on my thing, it's actually a magnet. So I use the back side of it more just because but it holds your needle in place so it doesn't fall off. I think it's called a needle minder. So, but this one I was cute. I found it from a Canadian seller on Etsy, so I didn't have to pay a gajillion dollars for shipping. I got myself like 4 of them. So my girls are cross stitching too. Maybe I'll show you their projects. So my older daughter, you can't tell what she's making yet, but it is a seahorse. Can't you tell? I can't believe you couldn't tell that. So this is the bottom of the seahorse, and the top of the seahorse. So it's that kind of like cool geometric-y. So yeah, they'll line up. Anyways, she's still working on the bottom, and yeah, it's really, really cool because it's kind of like an ombre effect that will give her in the end, and she really enjoys working on it. So hers is actually a trio. She's got a seahorse, a sea turtle, and a starfish maybe. I can't remember what the third one is. But anyways, there's three in the collection. I don't know if she'll do all 3. She really just wanted the seahorse, and you had to buy them as the pack of 3. So we just did that. And then my other daughter, she's 8. So Evelyn, my older daughter, is 11, but she's going to be turning 12 next month. Alora is 8. She'll be turning 9 in March. So they're not very old, so I'm really impressed at how well they do with the cross stitching and the patience that it requires. Alora is working on a beehive. So she's got a bee done there, and she's got a bee done up here, which is under the frame right now. She wanted to work on the door because she was bored of stitching with yellow, which I can't blame her. And she's got an M&M. Boop, where is it? There it is. A little green one. She loves like this minty green blue. Blue is her, oh, we're on this side, sorry. Yeah, she loves that color. So, and Evelyn also has a stitch marker. Nope, not a stitch marker. Needle minder. Right there. I got this from Wendy of Sew Not Crochet. She's got a shop on Etsy, and she's also got a, she's on Instagram as well. So she's a really sweet girl. I like her a lot. She doesn't have a whole lot in her shop. The last time I checked, which was just a couple weeks ago, but she has patterns, and she has, sometimes she's got project bags. She sometimes has the little needle minders. So that's where I grabbed that one. I really like it. So my girls each have those. So that's what they've been working on and what I've been working on. So I'm almost done. So that's been taking up a lot of my knitting time. I've been feeling, that's why my sweater isn't really any farther than it is. I took like a 3-week break to do my pugacorn. But yeah, so there's that. Drink more coffee. Not talking fast enough. There's a reason my dad used to call me Magpie. He hasn't called me that for a long time, but he used to when I was little. I don't know why. It's not like I like shiny things or talk too much, but yeah. So anyways, whips, FOs, and I'm going to talk about some future knitting that I'm planning. So I'd already talked about that I want to do a noni tee by Pip and Pin with my new yarn experiment. And I also bought myself some yarn. I've got so many projects planned, and I don't remember names. I'm the worst. Like I said, didn't really plan this out. But I bought myself some sweater quantities of yarn in the last little bit. The first one are these here. Oh my goodness, love, 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 love these. These are by Cog Yarns. She's a dyer out of Regina, Saskatchewan. So she's just a local girl to us. We only live about an hour and 45 minutes away, or an hour and a half away from each other. I have not been to one of her shows yet, but she sells her yarn in a little yarn shop in Regina called The Naked Sheep. And yeah, she was showing these. She'd gone to Edmonton, I think, Edmonton or Calgary for a show. I think she went to the Fiber Shindig, so I think that's the one in Calgary. And she had shown this color on her Instagram. So it's a Cog Yarns, so check her out. Yeah, she showed them on her Instagram, and I just absolutely fell in love with how they knit up. So I might not have ever been drawn to these. Like, I mean, they're beautiful and I love them, but I really love seeing how fabric or how how skeins knit up, because you can't really visualize how these are going to knit up until you've seen it. And oh my goodness, it was just absolutely stunning. I saw the swatch and I was like, I need that. And yeah, so I bought 4. I think I'm going to do, it's a top called Whiskey and Rye. Can't remember the designer. I should look it up. But it's a fingering weight. So I've got lots of yardage here. I've got over 1,600 yards. So I'll probably actually only need 3 of them. But I bought 4 just in case because I didn't know what I wanted to do with them. And I absolutely hate not having enough yarn. I did that so much when I first started buying indie dyed yarn or just more luxurious yarn. I'd buy just the bare minimum, like 1. And now I've got all these single skeins that I don't know what to do with. And I'm like, well, I could stripe it. It's like, well, how many striped things do I need? I'm going to have every striped sweater in the entire world. So that's kind of annoying. So I bought 4, thinking of doing a nice loose fingering weight pullover sweater. So there's that. So that was my big splurge. And then I turned around about a week later and I bought 4 sweater quantities worth. But I don't feel bad about this. Knit picks. I am a huge fan of knit picks. I always have been ever since I started knitting. Even when I started crocheting, Tara had told me, my sister had told me about knit picks. And they have an incredibly good lineup of yarn, beautiful colors, and extremely reasonable prices. Even though that they're based in the States, their prices, you just cannot beat them. They're budget friendly. My absolute favorite, which is budget friendly. You wouldn't know it. I'm an indie dyer and I support a lot of indie dyers, but I do love a good budget yarn. Because I mean, honestly, why not? And it's kind of nice to have a sweater that's only worth $40 instead of $120. You know, it's a little less precious and you can wear it more often. Anyways, love it. So, yeah. So anyways, knit picks every single year around US Thanksgiving. About the week before, they have a big sale. And that's the actual name, is the big sale, where they've discounted hundreds and hundreds of yarns up to 60% off. So I went through my Ravelry list and I picked 4 sweaters that I wanted because I've discovered about myself. Am I allowed to admit this out loud? I don't like handmade socks. I'm going to lose my knitter badge. I don't like hand knit socks. So anyways, we're just putting that out there. I like to knit them, but I have not. Okay, disclaimer. I might like hand knit socks. I learned to knit so I could knit hand knit socks, but I've got weird feet. It's like they're narrow, but wide. They're narrow. They widened out when I was pregnant. I've got narrow heels, so all shoes like flop off my feet no matter what. And unless I like running shoes, then I can tie the laces tight enough that the shoes stay on. But for the most part, like pumps or any kind of dress shoes, they flop off the back of my heel because I've got like a narrow heel. But I have a high instep. I've got wide ankles. So to get my fit, I have still not found it. I've knit myself like 10 pairs of socks and none of them fit my foot well. So I'm like, oh, I bought all this sock yarn, no idea what I'm going to do with it because I don't like them for myself. And it's just, it's frustrating is what it is, trying to knit a sock and then putting it on and it just doesn't fit nice and it's uncomfortable. So, and I discovered that I don't wear shawls. I've knit my fair share of shawls and I finish them, go, oh, these are beautiful, shove it in a drawer, never ever wear it. Like ever. I cannot remember the last time I wore a shawl. So, yeah, so I don't like that. So, but I have discovered if I have myself a hand knit sweater, I will wear it to death. I've actually blown a hole in my favorite Carson sweater. It's also by Megan. of Pip and Pin. It's like my favorite sweater. And yeah, there's a hole in the side. It's my own fault. I was picking at I keep thinking they're pills. And because there was a little bump right on the side of my thing, and I thought it was a pill, and it was actually a knot. And it was a manufacturer's knot. When we got our yarn from the mill, there was a little knot in it. So I used it to dye myself a sweater quantity. And yeah, instead of securing the knot, I'm like, it'll be fine. And I've picked at that thing for so many times. I'm like, oh no, that's the knot. And then I leave it alone. It's not like I pick at it. But anyways, this time I was like, oh, there's this thing. And as soon as I touched it, it popped apart. And now I've got a hole on the side of it's horrifying. I have to fix it yet. So I just have to anchor those stitches and they'll be fine. So I've just not been wearing it. But the rest of my sweaters, I wear like a ton. So I bought myself 4 sweater quantities of yarn from Knit Picks. And the first one, let's go with, is this color. It's this mauvey, purpley color. That's actually pretty close. It is called Velvetine. Yep, so it's a DK weight. It's called Gloss. And it is 70% merino and 30% silk. So it's this really squishy yarn. And I think this was like $5, maybe, a ball. I don't even know if it was that much. I think it might have been less because it was on sale. The next one I got myself just, I think, 3 of these. They're City Tweed. I have quite a stash of City Tweed. I really love it. I've knit myself a sweater with it, which ended up being too big, and so I don't wear it. And I've knit myself, or my husband, a sweater out of it, and he loves it. So I have a cardigan in my Ravelry queue that is mostly one color, and then near the on the cuffs and down around the hem at the bottom, it's like a 2-color brioche, maybe, I'm not sure. It's 2-color something, and you needed a contrast color. So I'm going to use like a burgundy and then this. So I only needed 3 of those. The third one I got, so this is a bit more on the prickly side, and I'm hoping it doesn't just drive me around the bend, but at $2 a ball, I couldn't say no. So this is Wool of the Andes. Boop. Knit Picks, Wool of the Andes in the Claret Heather. And so the color, there we go. That's actually really good. So you can see those little bits. There's like red and blue and purple, and it's just this beautiful over color. It's like a dark eggplant from far, and then when you're up close, you see all those gorgeous little bits. So yeah, so there's only, this is 50 grams, there's 110 yards. So it's a worsted weight. And I got myself, I think, 10 of these. It was like $30 Canadian for 10 skeins. Like, you cannot beat that. So got another sweater in my queue for that one. I'll try to remember to put pictures up or even list them below here somewhere with what sweater I'm planning with what yarn, because I just didn't review. My phone is far away. I forgot. And then the last one I'm going to do is a sweater. It's actually an open cardigan. It's really cool. It's got some cables, and they run on a diagonal from like your shoulder and under your shoulder down wide. So it's got like an A-line shape to it. And I'm just going to knit it out of some gray because I like to have a good basic sweater in my closet that just matches with everything. So again, it's the Wool of the Andes in the Dove Heather. So again, you can see the little flicks. There's some white in there and some gray. And yeah, like I said, it's a bit scritchy. Like, it's Peruvian wool, 100% Peruvian wool. So it's not like merino soft. It's not like a luxury yarn. It's a workhorse yarn. But you know, it's like 4 or 5 years ago, or even 2 years ago, I would have like ran from the hills. And I actually did buy a pumpkin color of this, and I was making a cardigan, and I hated it. I think because I hated the color. I bought it again on the big sale, but a few years ago, and it was one of the only colors that was on sale for the price, like within my budget. And so that's so dumb. So I bought this color knowing, well, I honestly thought it was more brown than it was. When I got it, it was like bright pumpkin orange. It was called paprika, I think. So I was expecting like a reddish, according to my laptop, like when I was looking at it, it looked more like a reddish orange. And no, it was like pumpkin orange. So I did start knitting with it, but I just was really unhappy with the color. So I've scrapped that project, and I think I've even donated the wool to the Value Village because I was like, no. So I didn't super love that. But it doesn't really bother me now. Like putting it against my neck, it's like you definitely feel a prickle, but I can appreciate the properties of this wool more than maybe I did a few years ago. And as long as you're not expecting it to feel like merino or, you know, cashmere, it's good. I would say it would be comparable to like Patton's worsted, I think it is. Like from Michael's, it's like a little bit, it's 100% wool is that one. And it's a little bit prickly, but not itchy. I made my mittens and a hat out of it, and I really like it. So if it doesn't bother me there, then I figure it should be fine as a cardigan. And then the last thing I got from Knit Picks was a freebie, actually. They just sent it to me. They forgot to tuck it into my box. So I will say for Knit Picks, their shipping is amazing. It's like $11 flat rate to Canada after you hit, I think it's $75, which is really easy to do if you can go in with a friend if you don't have that much to order. And they ship it from Canada, actually, because the warehouse is just on the other side of the border. So any Canadian orders they get, they just pack it into a shipping truck, they go across the border, and then they ship from Canada. So we don't have to worry about the duties or the customs and stuff like that. It's all taken care of through Knit Picks. But anyways, I got my box crazy super fast, and when I opened it up, my freebie hadn't been tucked in. So I phoned them up. They said, oh, we're sorry about that. We'll ship it out. And they did. So I've got this thing. And it's really super cool. It is called a Hawthorne sock reel. I have never seen one of these in all my life. Come on. So it's something new that they had for their big sale. So it's a fingering weight. I've used their Hawthorne wool before, and it's really nice base. And it's like an I-cord. It's like a 6, that's probably what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's probably 16 stitch I-cord. Or a little tube, I guess. Maybe not an I-cord, but just a little tube. 16 stitches. And you just unravel it. There we go. Just like you would a sock blank. But it's a sock reel. So I was like, that's really cool. So it was free because I hit over, I don't know what it was, $100 or something like that. They were giving away deal or doing a special deal every single day. So the day that I was shopping, it was you get one of these for free with a $100 order. And yeah, like I said, they'd forgot to put it in, but they were really super awesome about sending it out to me. So I'm really excited. And this color is Citron Stripe. So I'm eager to get that on the go. Make a pair of socks for my husband because he is definitely sock worthy, even if I'm not. So I think that's pretty much everything I've got for you. So it's been almost an hour. I think that's pretty good for hardly having anything to show. So yeah, and my kids are going to be home from school in about 20 minutes. So perfect time to get done up. So anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking around and hanging out with me for the afternoon. I hope you had some coffee. I hope you learned something, and probably didn't learn anything, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. So like I said, I'm going to try to do these probably once a month or so, if I can sneak away from the shop. I'm thinking maybe that today is the last Friday of the month. Today is November the 27th? 29th. Okay. Today is November 29th, 2019. It's a Friday. I don't know, maybe the last Friday of the month would be the best if I could stick to a schedule. If I schedule it in, then I know. The problem is I always let something else pop up and get in the way. So maybe I'll try to commit to that last Friday of the month. So until next time, you guys, enjoy your month and enjoy your knitting or whatever you're working on. I would absolutely love for you guys to comment below and tell me what you're working on, if you're doing some gift knitting or if you're doing some selfish knitting or if you're doing some cross stitching, or yeah, if you're a cross stitcher, I would love to know what you're working on. Just all the things. Also, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel and click the little notification bell so you know when I finally do upload a new video, which might not be very often. But if you do subscribe, then it helps other people find my videos and they might like it too. So yeah, until next time, you guys, we'll catch you again. See you around.